Hi everyone, it's Mr. Panza. Welcome to a math video, where today you won't only hear my voice, you'll also see me, because I've got a lot of hand and body motions to help teach you about geometry. Let's begin. Our main question is, how do we recognize different geometry lines and pairs of lines? In this video, we are only going to focus on geometrical lines, because there are lines and pairs of lines, and I don't want us to get the two confused. So without further delay, let's check out those lines that you need to know. There are three main lines that you need to know in fourth grade. I'm going to briefly show you the hand and body motions. One is a line that can start all the way over here and go all the way over here. The second one is a line segment that has two definite endpoints. And the third is a ray that has one endpoint and then goes on forever and ever in one direction. Let's take a look at all of those definitions, and I'll also show you the hand-body motions in a little bit of a bigger picture. So the first one we're talking about is a line. I showed you the hand and body motion, but let's go over the definition. It's a straight path that goes on in two directions. It can go front to back or left to right. In other words, it looks like this. Notice that there are no endpoints, but you can draw endpoints on a line. Let's take a look at what it looks like with the hand and body motion when I make myself a little bit bigger. A line with my hand and body motion can start all the way here, and notice that my index finger is pointing because that shows you that it goes on and on forever in that direction. And a line can also go all the way on forever and ever in the opposite direction. It goes in two directions and it doesn't have those definite endpoints. So that's your hand and body motion. When I say show me a line, you want to stick your arm straight out and show me. We're going on forever and ever in both directions. Let's continue. In geometry, we're also going to talk about labeling lines and sets of lines. In this case, you can see with my cursor that I've labeled this line A, B. We'll get into why this line is also a line segment, but I'd like you to see that the reason it's a line is because I've extended it past point A. As you see, I'm moving to the left on the screen, and I've extended it past point B, which is to the right of the screen with these little red dots. That just shows you my understanding that a line is that straight path that goes in two directions without ending. It's infinite. Let's move on. Ray is the second type of line that you need to know. The definition of a ray is one endpoint that goes on in only one direction. But again, it goes one direction and that direction forever. It's just that one direction. This is what a ray would look like. What I like to say to the students is that in a neighborhood, it's kind of like a cul-de-sac or a dead-end street. That's why it has this one point over here that I'm circling and then goes on and on for one direction. Let me show you the hand and body motion a little bit bigger again. My ray has an end point, as you can see here, but it goes on in one direction the whole way. It doesn't just have to go that way. I could have my point this way, and my ray goes all the way in one direction this way. But you'll notice it has a definite end point. It's right there, and that's where the start is, and then it goes all the way in one direction. That's my hand and body motion for ray. Let's continue with more about ray. I can extend it, as you can see, with that little red dot, but we also talked about labeling. So I'm going to label the one endpoint C and then a point on the ray D. So I can say that this is ray CD. And you'll notice that when I write it in geometry terms, as long as you have the dot and the arrow, you're good to go. Let's take a look at the third and final line that you need to know. The third line definition that you need to know in fourth grade geometry is line segment. Here's the definition. A line segment has two definite endpoints. You saw me place my fist like this to show you here are my endpoints. Let's make it a little bit larger so that you can see what an endpoint looks like with my hand and body motions. Here are my definite endpoints. You can see I have an endpoint here and an endpoint here, and my line segment is right here in the middle, so they kind of meet, and they definitely end. It's like being on a dead-end street, and either end of the street you can't get out of. So here are my endpoints. My hand and body motion helps me remember that a line segment has those two endpoints, and it does not go in either direction. It's kind of like being stuck right in the middle with nowhere to go. Let's take a look at what that looks like as a picture that you may see in geometry. Here's a picture of a line segment. You can see it looks just like a line, however, I have an endpoint and an endpoint, and it does not go on in either direction. In this case, I label this point E and this point F, and I can call it line segment EF. The main difference is when you are labeling lines, rays, and line segments, you have to also draw them like this. So, those are the 3 lines that you need to know in geometry this year. Be sure to check back for the second video about pairs of lines when we talk about not just 1, but 2 lines that can look like this, or like this. Otherwise, you've learned about those 3 geometry lines that you'll need to know. Line, line segment, and a ray. Hope this video helps.